Can you share a personal experience where you felt pressured to conform to certain beauty standards or societal expectations regarding your appearance, and how did you navigate through it?
Years ago, I was doing a photo shoot, actually, for a friend that was trying to build his portfolio. And at the time, I was probably 150, 160. I was small. I was the biggest of the girls that were there. And at that time, I didn't want to stay. I didn't want to do the shoot. I was small, but I didn't feel small enough, pretty enough, like I could be in the pictures with them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And how did you navigate through that? Did you go through with the shoot?
I did. One of the girls that was there actually had called a couple other people to come in, and there were some other girls that showed up that were actually about the size I am now.
Okay.
And watching them take the pictures and their confidence and how they just kind of shone was inspiring.
Okay. And how do you think societal norms and expectations influence how women are supposed to handle their mental health? And have you been personally affected by these pressures?
Very much so. A lot of people that do not experience mental health issues think that it is just a cry for attention, or being lazy, or just a way for people to try to draw other people into them, make it all about them. People that don't understand what it's like to experience severe bouts of depression or anxiety and being overwhelmed to the point that you actually shut down. Just think you're lazy. All you want to do is sleep. You don't get the house done. You don't get any of your chores done. You don't get the work done that you needed to that day. People don't seem to understand that sometimes you just can't. You can't function. You can't process. You're overwhelmed to the point that you just shut down. And it's hard to explain that to somebody that has never experienced it.
And then reflecting on your upbringing and where you grew up, how do you feel it shaped your perception of femininity, body image, and mental well-being?
I was not really taught how to be a girl, how to do my hair and my makeup, how to dress. I was always put into hand-me-downs, which there's nothing wrong with that. But when the hand-me-downs don't fit, well, why is your shirt so big? Why is the chest section sagging? You don't have boobs. I grew up very much a tomboy and trying to learn how to do things as a woman, it's hard. And learning how to do makeup, learning how to do your hair, not knowing what products go with other products. But lately I've learned there are other females out there that are more than willing to help you, teach you, be patient, and understand that Sometimes you just don't get it. Sometimes you just never learned it. Let me teach you.
Okay. And have you ever encountered any challenges or stigmas when discussing your mental health or seeking support as a woman, whether it be with a male or another female, or anybody for that matter, and how did you overcome them?
Quite a few times, actually. I can remember one instance being so overwhelmed that all I could do was shut down. I cried, and then I went and got into bed and I slept for 12 hours. And I was told to just push through it. The person that said it does not have mental health issues, or if they did, they don't acknowledge them. They don't understand them. And being told to push through it is not supportive. It's not understanding. It's, well, you're just being selfish. You're being lazy. You can't push through it.
If it was that easy, we'd all be doing it.
We would all do it. My response to that was, instead of doing the dishes, I'll throw them all away. Now the sink is empty. Instead of doing the laundry, I'll throw it outside. I'll put it in the trash can. Now I don't have to worry about laundry. That was my response at the time. Now I just do my best to find a way to pick myself up. If I need to take a 2-hour nap instead of a 12-hour nap, I make sure that I have a support system that calls me and makes sure that I get up, or says that they're coming by. That motivates me to do what I need to do so my house is not gross. But sometimes you can't. And it's helpful having people around you that understand that.
Yeah. And in what ways do you believe cultural expectations and stereotypes have impacted your self-image and mental health journey as a woman?
I would say before the last year, I couldn't look in the mirror. I didn't want to see how I'd become. I didn't want to see what I looked like. I didn't want to see how fat I'd gotten. And I know it's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I overeat. It's not because I sit on my butt all day and eat bonbons and watch TV. My weight was all brought on by a hormonal imbalance and a medical issue. And it's not necessarily my fault. I took steps to deal with it. I went to the doctor. I explained what needed to be done, and luckily I had a doctor that listened, that gave me my options. And after a few different trial and errors, it was decided the best course of action for not only my physical health, but my mental health was to do the hysterectomy. That, coupled with all the weight gain, was crushing. Here I am, fat, not what society typically calls a beautiful woman. I'm not a size 2. I don't have long legs. I don't have the flowing, gorgeous, perfect hair. And the one thing that I'm supposed to contribute to society is taken away. What good does that make me? I am from a large family. My family's Greek, you know this. We're loud, we're boisterous. There's a bunch of people. I am one of the only children that does not have a child. And I am also probably the one that wanted children the most. And having to tell my family, having to tell my dad that I couldn't give him grandchildren, that was hard.
Can you share a specific moment or experience that highlighted the importance of addressing mental health issues for women, either personally or within your community?
I have tried to commit suicide twice. Once when I was younger, about 7th grade, and once as an adult. When I was younger, it's because I was bullied by my peers. I was picked on. I was called names. I was purposely left out of things like events or parties, or not parties like adult parties, but like birthday parties. Coupled with I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And trying to talk to people about it, again, I was just trying to get attention. I'm from a big family. I was the quiet wallflower child, the doormat, so nobody ever paid attention to me, so I had to make these things up in order to get attention for myself. Telling somebody in your family that you have been molested and then telling you that it just wasn't true, that you were just saying it to get attention or to cause problems, and then still having to see that person regularly. Nobody should have to experience that. Nobody should have to deal with that alone. Nobody should have to question whether they're going to be believed or not, especially not a child. So I just wanted to go to sleep. And I did. I swallowed almost an entire bottle of pills. I chose poorly. If you can laugh at that, I chose a generic brand of Benadryl because that's what I had access to. And I went to sleep. And I woke up 3 days later in the hospital. Apparently I had taken the perfect amount to hallucinate, and it's equivalent to an LSD trip. And when my parents finally understood something was really wrong, that I wasn't just walking around talking to inanimate objects just because, they took me to the hospital for observation. And I had to go to therapy to try to determine what had happened, because I wouldn't tell anybody. I woke up in a hospital terrified, not knowing what was going on. When I went to therapy and finally started talking to somebody, they stated I had severe anxiety and depression, which no 11-year-old should be diagnosed with. Yeah, there are people that make things up. There are people that say things that are not true. There are people that do try to get attention. But you should never discount what somebody tells you. You should never ignore it. You should never tell them that it doesn't matter. Sure, if they're making it up to get attention, educate them. Educate them on why it's not okay to make that kind of stuff up, because there are people out there, there are both adults and children out there suffering in silence because people won't believe them, or they will just sweep it under the rug. Hearing that I made it up, that it didn't happen as an adult. First time I was raped as an adult, I didn't tell anybody. Nobody will believe me. Second time it happened, I told somebody. Somebody I was very close to, somebody who was a very good friend, somebody that I knew would believe me. She went and told everybody how I was making up lies, trying to damage this person's reputation. How I was trying to steal him away from his girlfriend. I didn't want anything to do with him. I barely knew his name. I had just met him that night. Society not believing people when they say they have mental health issues. You're not helping anybody. You're not stopping it. You're not making a difference. When I told the person that I was engaged to that I had a miscarriage, well, that's too bad. There was no comfort. There was no, what can we do? What happened? Are you okay? People either don't care or they don't want to know. That's why I'm so adamant when people joke about suicide. It's not something you joke about. Or somebody telling another person to kill themselves. It's not something you say. Society needs to understand everybody is struggling in their own way. We have to be the ones to step up and make a difference. If we don't, nobody will.
Would you like to take a break? Can you share a specific moment or experience when you felt particularly vulnerable or challenged in regards to your mental health?
When I found out that I was going to have the hysterectomy, I was pretty inconsolable. And I reached out to the one person that is supposed to be there, that is supposed to be at my side, that is supposed to love me unconditionally. I didn't get the support that I needed. I didn't get the comfort that I needed. It'll be okay. It's for the best. If that's what the doctors think needs to happen, then that's what needs to happen. I actually reached out to a few people because I knew after the surgery I was probably going to spiral a little bit. And I did. But luckily, those people actually reached out to me, talked to me through it, put me in contact with some other people that had been through similar experience, got me into therapy with some other ladies that had to come to grips with it, and I was able to slowly accept it. And whenever I brought up the idea of adoption or surrogate, because there are other options, it was shot down flat. I feel like I had my choice, my chance at being a mom taken from me in more than one way. And mentally, I have not been able to cope with that. So I ignore it. I know it's not healthy. I know I should do something about it, but I don't want to. I do hope you have some happy questions in there.
How have societal attitudes towards women's roles and expectations evolved during your lifetime, and how has this influenced your own journey with mental health and self-care?
You grow up, you watch movies, TV, read about your idols, the people you look up to, movies, magazines, books. And when they describe them, they describe these gorgeous, long-legged, skinny, beautiful women. They don't talk about plus-size women. They don't talk about their value, their worth. So it's always came across that the bigger you are, the less you're valued, which makes you feel bad. It demeans you. It puts you in a whole different category. Going out shopping makes you anxious. Are they going to judge me because I go into a store and they don't have my size? Or you go into one store and you buy a certain size, and then you go into another store to get that exact same size and you don't fit. It really messes with your mentality and your self-image. It can set off your depression or your anxiety of trying to shop or trying to go out in public. nowadays, being plus size is not necessarily sneered at. It's not looked down on. People are fighting back about body positivity, about body shaming. You don't have to be a size 2 to be a lead woman in a movie or to be the main character in a book. Beauty is about confidence and your mentality and getting out of your own way to see that you are. And being able to do that does help your mental health. And case in point, I used to be skinny. I used to be very skinny. It's taken me a long time to accept how I look, to accept that I am plus size, and I probably will be for the rest of my life. I have to fight my depression and my anxiety every single day. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at being able to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself that I am gorgeous and that I am okay how I am. It's a fight, but we need more people that can encourage other people to boost their mental health, to help them see themselves in a positive way.
And have you noticed differences in how mental health is perceived or addressed within your family or societal or social circles? And how has this influenced your own approach to self-care?
Every person perceives it differently. One person may live with you and not understand it because they don't experience it firsthand and think that it is something that you can just get over. Another person in your family may be experiencing the exact same thing, but not talk about it. Certain friends battle it and aren't afraid to flat out ask for help. Others don't know how to without being judged. That's one of the reasons why I come on so strong when somebody says, I need help. How can I help? I'm not that great at responding to text messages, but I do try. I need to be better about how I approach other people. But I am trying to accept other people's issues as well as my own. It just takes time.
What strategies have you found effective in challenging traditional gender norms and promoting healthier relationship with your own mental health as a woman?
Talking with friends and family, talking with strangers, being open and upfront about when something is wrong, when somebody else brings up something being wrong and trying to address it. I don't know. Something to work on.
And looking ahead, what changes would you like to see in how society views and supports women's mental health and well-being?
It's not just about women. We're more outspoken about it because it is, I guess, more accepted, more expected. But guys struggle with it just as much as we do. They just don't talk about it. We as a society need to be more accepting of other people, regardless of who they are, how they identify. We're not going to make any difference if we're not willing to try to make a difference.
And how do you think society could make a difference?
Listen. Pay attention. Be honest and talk about things that need to be talked about. Not brush them off or dismiss them. Or try to place blame. I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok where they ask guys, who do you talk to when you need someone? Or who do you go to? And they say no one. They're expected to just suck it up and handle it and deal with it like a man. How are we as women supposed to expect that kind of support and acceptance when men don't have it? If they don't have it, how are they supposed to understand it and offer it? It goes both ways.
And going back to like your own personal mental health and body image, are there any kind of recurring thoughts or feelings that you deal with daily, or even at all in general, and how do you combat those?
I have those thoughts every day. All the negative thoughts I get at one point or another every single day. Maybe not all of them, but definitely a lot of them. Useless, worthless, second choice, settled for, backup plan, all of it. I think it every day. Especially anytime I look in the mirror and I see what I look like right now. And then I remember that my value is not based on the package that I am in. It's just a body. Just a little extra. Who I am as a person, my value, my worth is not my waist size. If it is, then I would be more valuable, not less. I have to remind myself every single day that there are people out there that need me. There are people that love me and value and respect me. My negative thoughts about myself, it's not who I am. I try to do good things for other people as a reminder. Not because I want a pat on the back or I want any kind of celebration. I do it because if I can put a smile on someone else's face, even for just a moment, it puts a smile on mine. If I can brighten somebody else's day, if I can make them feel better, if I can do for somebody else that day, I made a difference. Maybe even just a little bit. I don't have to look in the mirror to see who I am. I am perfectly, chaotically imperfect. And I am okay with that.
Are there any coping mechanisms or self-care practices that you found particularly helpful in managing your mental health or improving your body image?
Sometimes.
Or let me rephrase it, the perception of your body image.
Sometimes I have to disassociate for a little while in order to kind of restart my brain, because there's so much going on, it's overwhelming. So I will read a book, or I will play a mind-numbing game that I don't really have to think about, and I can just kind of space out for a little while. Or I take a nap, because naps are glorious. Or I find a store that is size inclusive, because women's clothes are so vastly differently sized. I could be a triple X at one store and I could be an extra large at another. I try to go shopping, find something cute for myself, and I talk to my friends. I post a picture and I see the responses about my glasses. People like my glasses, or my smile, or how I did my makeup that day, or something. And it makes me feel a little bit better that I am seen. Not because, again, my waist size, or that I jiggle when I walk. I am seen as me. And if I have to shut down, spend a little me time to do that, I'm going to. And I won't be sorry for it.
And can you describe a moment of personal growth or resilience that you've experienced in relation to your mental health and body image?
Being told by the person that promised to stand by you in sickness and health that they no longer find you attractive because of your weight gain. It does something to you. It makes you question things, it makes you doubt things, it makes you look at things very differently. But then you take a step back and you remember that not everyone views you the same way. And when some people start telling you how they see you in a positive light, it helps boost your self-image, your self-worth. This person may not find me attractive, but that one does. This person sees who I am as a person. Sees that I am funny, smart, loyal, affectionate, kind, smart-ass, and caring And that is what makes me beautiful to somebody else. And I have to remember that. And sometimes I need other people to remind me of that. And they do.
And is there anything else that you would like to share or express about your journey with mental health, body image, or personal experiences that you feel is important for the project to capture?
Mental health is not something that is going to go away. It's just as important as eating regularly or sleeping the right amount or drinking the right amount of water. It's something that has to be dealt with every single day. It's something you have to pay attention to, because if you don't pay attention to it, if you ignore it, eventually it's all going to come back, and then you have to deal with it in a whole different way. Learning to accept myself and my body as is, accepting the fact that I'm probably never going to drop back down to 150 pounds. It's been a challenge, but I like who I am as a person now. I may not be a skinny mini, but I'm still beautiful, and I have to remind myself about that every single day. And I have to remember that sometimes it's okay to be selfish and deal with my mental health over others. I have to give myself that on occasion. And I have to remind myself that it's okay to be selfish. And I have to remind others it's okay. It's not something that's going to be fixed with a magic pill or wishing it away. But I wish more people would be accepting of themselves, learn to actually deal with the issues that need to be dealt with, or seek the help that they need to be able to do so. Talk to somebody who has experienced it. Talk to somebody that is experiencing it. Talk to a complete stranger. Sometimes it is easier to talk to a stranger that does not know you than it is your family or a close friend.
And then, so one more thing, I want you to look into the camera, and I want you to basically talk to anyone that may be facing mental health issues, body dysmorphia, self-image, and give them advice, on what to do. Not necessarily what to do, but just talk to them. Give them something that you would like almost like a glimmer of hope kind of thing. Basically, almost like a pep talk, if you will. Whatever you want to say to them.
Okay? You are not alone. You are not the only person who is experiencing what you're going through. You are loved. You are wanted, and you are needed. I've never met you, or maybe I have. I love you exactly as you are. You do not need to change for anyone for any reason. You are enough. And anyone who tries to make you doubt that or question that or believe differently is not worthy of your time or your effort. You are as amazing as a dress with pockets. Don't forget that.
Well, Cassie, I again would like to express my gratitude for you being part of this project. I know there were some times where it wasn't easy. I know there were some times where it got raw and it got painful. And I appreciate you being honest and allowing us to dive into those sensitive topics, whether it be through photos or verbally. And I appreciate your strength in doing so. Is there anything else you wanted to add that you feel we might have missed?
I'm sure once you post it, there are going to be the trolls that come out
Mm-hmm.
that have something to say about my belly or how I look or how unhealthy I am or whatever it is they want to say behind the lens or behind their keyboard. It's not going to get to me. Anything that they could say to or about me is nothing worse than I have already said to myself at some point or another. I invite anyone that is struggling with any mental health to reach out. Again, be it to family or friend, be it to a stranger, be it me, suicide hotline, anywhere that you can. It is okay to not be okay.
Thank you, Cassie.
You're welcome.